Eleanor, by the Wandering Feather, a story about a druid witch who came to America. Chapter 1, Fate Awaits. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and donate to my Patreon, linked below.
Let me take you back to Christian England. The year was 1620, a time where me people were in hiding. You see, there were a few hundred of us druids. In these times, we lived across the hills in the forest of the west. Our people were being hunted down by the Christians, and we were being burned at the stake, accused of sorcery and witchcraft we were. During this time, it was when the aldermen summoned a great council to speak about the future of our people, and word reached the ears of our wise that the Christians were going to the Americas to colonize the new savage lands. Now, this is where I come into the story. My name is Eleanor. I am the daughter of the great sorceress Ainsworth. One morning, I was in the forest picking mushrooms and herbs for my mother. An old hermit approached me. I had been summoned by the chief elderman to lead the fate of my people. Like the seed of life, which is carried by the wind to flee death, to become planted, to start anew. So I was to spread our beliefs to the new land. So I sat there on the log, near the meadows, daydreaming of my journey as I heard, Eleanor, come here, my sweet cherub. It was my mother. Oh, Eleanor, the chieftain summons you to our fate. You are but 16, though you are strong like me. Still, I have much to teach you before you go. Much rumors of these new lands speak of beauty and opportunity. My sweet Eleanor, when you depart my nest, I won't be there to protect you. I fear we will never see each other again. Oh, my sweet Eleanor, this talk shall wait for now. We must prepare for the midsummer festival. As my mother and I went to prepare for the festival, I had thought to myself, my people have nothing to fear, for I am strong, wise, and fierce as my mother, and even more powerful than the strongest warrior. As my heart was being made ready, we approached a beautiful sight. We had walked to Stonehenge, where waves of the sea could be heard crashing to the cliff as the sun shone brightest that day. My people awaiting me for the great feast. I was a hero before I've ever done anything honorable enough for the title. As I approached, my heart beating like the drums my people were playing. Their chanting and howling became even louder. I became overwhelmed with excitement. Caw-caw! Raha! Oh! I howled. Approached me and put the sacred paint on my face. We all began to dance to the drums, and we drank the herbs my mother made, and so we all became like dancing wolves in a trance state. We danced from noon to sunset. We feasted and told stories. And then as night came, we slept under the stars. I awoke the next morning to the sound of screams and the smell of fire. Christians had found us. They were killing our men, and they were throwing our women into a huge fire. That is when my eyes met this fierce man. He was a Christian. his eyes on fire, and the rage he had could be felt by the sight of him. "Come here quick," the hermit yelled. He put me on a horse and hid it so I could flee. The look on the hermit's face was sadness as he was struck by arrows, and from a distance I heard, "Fate, never forget." Back through the forest the horse took me until I reached our village. Those who had survived were packing to go into hiding, and so it was for my people always. Mom quickly ran to me and urged me to help her pack. We then fled to the northern hills. We had acquired a shack to live in as my mother and I paid for it with our laboring in the field. We spent a short month on the farm. The lord of this land was a Christian, so we had to hide our identities by the cover of night. In this month, Mom had much to teach me. As we labored in the day, we learned much of the ways of the Christians. We learned how to cover our identities and how to hide ourselves. At night is when the real lessons have begun. As the sun set and the moon arose with stars lighting up the skies, revealing the stories of old, my mom told me the great stories that are only revealed to few. I learned of the craft taught to my people by the spirits of the forest. I learned the art of seducing. I learned what should be done to make the world move. Oh, the fires we sat around began to come alive as our ancestors came out of them with the sound of the drum my mother played. Our month was ending and it was time for moving on. We had to meet up with our people for the next coming festival, which was the Great Llamas Festival. As we arrived, we seen the feast table set as we also had much to contribute to this great feast from our month of labor. It may seem like we have many festivals, but it is necessary to celebrate every season with a festival, for the wheel of life moves with each season. As I was dancing, I felt tired. Mom carried me off to sleep as the day was calling ahead. In the morning, it was time for the ride to Southampton to depart for the new world. The sun arose and the birds chirped. As I walked out, my mother was there, waiting on the wagon. My people greeted me, showering me with gold for my journey. So the time had come whence we began our travel to the Mayflower. On the way to our destination, Mom told me two important things. First, sacrifice was necessary to accomplish my mission. And secondly, the blood of the innocent renews the old. It took us a day to reach Southampton, and it was early morning as we reached the docks. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. For a moment, our hearts stopped in fear as we seen that same Christian man, the one who had slaughtered my people at Stonehenge. He was on the Mayflower, stocking the ship with crates. My mother quickly made a disguise for me and went to the captain of the ship to pay my way onto the ship. At first he was hesitant as he heard my age, but the gold we bartered made his eyes shine with greed. He accepted, and my mother and I said our farewells and cried. So I boarded the ship and set sail, looking back at my mother as she waved, "Goodbye, my sweet cherub, Eleanor."